Welcome to Ask the Expert with noted radio host Steve Sleeper. Each week, Steve interviews entrepreneurs and professionals and shares their intriguing stories of success and service. Now, here's radio veteran Steve Sleeper.
Today, we're speaking with personal injury attorney Ben Whitley at the Whitley Law Firm. They have a great respect and concern for the law, fairness and justice, and seriously injured clients. They have offices in Charlotte, Raleigh, New Bern, Jacksonville, Kinston, and Greenville. I started by asking Ben about himself and his firm.
I am a personal injury lawyer in Raleigh, North Carolina, and I grew up in Kinston, North Carolina, which is a small town in the east, and I practiced with my dad and my brother and 6 other very smart lawyers here in Raleigh, and we try to bring our family firm atmosphere to the practice of law, provide folks with excellent results, but also a lot of personal attention.
Let's say I've been in a car accident. Why do I need an attorney?
Well, most people actually don't need an attorney, Steve. It's really cases in which there is more exposure for the insurance company, and there's a lot more going on in the case that you would need to bring in a professional. You know, we take probably 8 out of 10 calls a day, and we're telling folks if it's a minor fender bender, there's no medical treatment, or there's very minor medical treatment. Some folks are okay handling the case on their own, but a lot of times if the injuries are serious and there's folks who are requiring hospital care or multiple doctor visits, or if there's, obviously if it's a catastrophic injury or even a death, then there's so much at stake, and the insurance company is immediately building their case. They're going to have folks out there on the scene and investigating things and documenting evidence. So because they're getting a head start, it's important to get an attorney involved very quickly. And even though it may be the last thing you're thinking about if you're in the hospital or you're dealing with a catastrophic injury, it is important because there's evidence out there that may go away that we want to get our hands on.
How do I pay for a lawyer in a personal injury case?
That's a great question, Steve. All of our fees and all of our costs are what are called contingency fee contracts, which mean that the client doesn't have to pay anything up front, and that we're only paid if we're successful and we win the case at the end of the case. And it's usually based on a percentage. Sometimes if we're able to settle cases without going to court, the percentage is less. If we have to go to court or even appeal, sometimes the percentage goes up. But the good news is for the client is that they can get top-notch legal services for a contingency fee, meaning that we can work the whole time, even if it's 2 years, without getting paid, and we're paid only at the end and only if we're successful.
How do I know if I've got a case?
The best way to know that, Steve, is that it's really going to be dependent on how bad you got hurt. I think that there are certainly physical injuries, but there are also other types of damages that you could have, such as if you had to be out of work or you lost your job, or if your case involves scarring. I mean, there's so many different factors. The best thing I could tell anyone that's wondering if they have a case or if they should hire a lawyer is just give us a call. We'd be glad, along with many other personal injury lawyers, to give free phone consultations. Most lawyers in the state of North Carolina offer this as far as personal injury, and we recommend that people just at least get a check-in with an attorney, get an opinion. The attorney will be glad to tell you if they have a case or if you can handle it on your own.
Guy ran into me in a car accident, and his insurance guy calls me. What do I do?
Well, the first thing you want to do is you want to be careful with what you say. Sometimes these adjusters are calling to deal with moving your car or having your car repaired or looked at or estimated if it's not totaled, or even get an estimate if it is totaled. And those types of administrative type issues involving your car are certainly okay to talk to the adjuster about. Now, if that adjuster asks you questions about how the accident happened or your injuries, you need to make sure you stop that conversation and talk to an attorney first. Even like I said before, if it's just a free consultation, because especially in North Carolina, a lot of times these adjusters can talk people right out of benefits that they're owed in their case.
After a car accident, somebody runs into me. Let's say I can get out of the car and move around. Are there some things I should keep in mind and do as far as documenting the accident?
Sure, Steve. In this day and age, we all have, most of our phones have cameras on them. And so if you're not too badly hurt, and remember, again, it's your medical situation is your priority. So that needs to be the priority. But if it's after an accident, if you checked yourself out and you're okay and you can physically do it and you have your phone accessible, then sure, there's nothing wrong with getting pictures of the accident, of your car, getting pictures of the scene, and most importantly, getting pictures of where the cars are prior to being moved. Because a lot of times cars are moved out of the scene and their position after impact may be very critical in determining who was at fault.
COVID-19, as we record this interview, we're a couple of months into that crisis. Are you open right now, and how are you meeting with new clients?
Thankfully, Steve, before the COVID crisis, we had moved everything to a real electronic office that allows us to do what's called e-sign and video calls already before this happened. And so gratefully, once it happened, we were able to remain open. We've actually been able to continue to serve our clients through electronic means. And we're taking all the precautions as recommended by the CDC. But now more than ever, folks need helping hands, and we're here for them. We can answer questions that they have, especially workers who may be exposed to virus issues. It's a real difficult time for our country, and I'm certainly wanting to do our part. And also, Steve, to do our part in not letting frivolous claims come through. I think that businesses are going to be very important to remain open and to thrive during this time. And I don't want to see my brother trial lawyers out there trying to sign up a bunch of cases and make things difficult for business, because we have to balance the protections of the consumers and, of course, the protection of the employees with our need to move forward economically. So that's a call that is tough. I'm real interested in what happens to workers who are exposed and making sure they get workers' comp benefits. I'm not so interested in going after companies, doctors, and hospitals that are having to struggle during this time to do what they've got to do to keep the public safe.
Ben, do you think that COVID-19, could that delay my claim?
I haven't seen any delays in cases settling. I was worried at the beginning that there would be, but I'll tell you where the delay is. The delay is coming from providers getting us medical records. The providers all are having their hands full right now, but I'm seeing some improvement. But I see the delay in getting the provider medical records, which can help us settle your case timely. We're also seeing some issues, Steve, with the folks that get hurt now are having a harder time getting the kind of treatment that they need, because many offices have kind of shut off everything but COVID. But again, I'm seeing that trend improve, especially in North Carolina, as we've begun opening and allowing more non-essential medical type procedures to continue.
Ben, this has been really good information. Thanks very much for being on Ask the Expert today.
Steve, I appreciate it. I appreciate your time and being able to talk to your audience and to give these folks some information that hopefully they can use.
Thanks for listening to Ask the Expert with Steve Sleeper. Join us next time as entrepreneurs and professionals share their intriguing stories of success and service.